In this video, I'm going to talk you through how you can create a weapon for your player. I'm going to create a gun and I'm going to make it so that when I click with my mouse, a bullet fires from my player in the direction of where my mouse is. The first thing that I'm going to do is create a new object, which is going to be my bullet. I'm going to create a sprite. I'm going to name it as bullet. I'm going to set its object name to bullet. I'm going to create it with Piscal, and I'm going to change the initial size. So I'm going to make it 12 pixels by 12 pixels, which makes the object smaller. And then I'm going to set it as a solid color. For me, I'm just going to make it red. I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to add a behavior. So I'm going to go onto behaviors. I'm going to add a behavior. And this behavior that I'm going to add is going to be fire bullet. So there we go, fire bullets. I'm going to click apply. And now I've created my bullet and I can drag it into my world. I'm just going to drag one up there for now. I'm then going to go onto my player and I'm going to go onto behaviors as well. And I'm going to add a fire bullets behavior to my player too. Now that I've done that, I can start to write the code that is going to enable my player to fire a bullet. So I'm going to go onto my event sheet and I'm going to add a new event and then add a condition. This condition is going to relate to my mouse, and I'm going to see if my mouse button, the left mouse button, is being pressed. So I'm going to go for this one, mouse button pressed or touched and held. I'm then going to choose the mouse button that I want to check for, and it's going to be the left click, which is the main click that we use, the primary click. I'm going to click OK to that, and then I'm going to add a condition. This condition is going to relate to the player, and it's going to be fire a bullet towards angle. So I want the player to fire a bullet. So I'm going to go fire bullets towards angle. I'm going to first of all select my player's X and Y positions, and I can figure out what my player's X and Y position is as they move throughout the game. And to do that, I type in the name of my player object. My player object is called player, and then I put a capital X with brackets. So player dot capital X brackets. That is automatically tracking my player's X position. And then I'm going to do the same, but with player dot Y brackets, and that is finding my player's Y position. I'm then going to select my bullet object as the bullet that is being fired. And now this is the most complex part of all. So here I am going to write two functions within this line. The first function that I'm going to write is 2deg, and that means 2 degrees. The second that I'm going to write in is ATAN2, this one here, and this finds out the distance between my player and a bullet that has been fired. I then need to type in a few different arguments. This line of code will be exactly the same for everybody, so you don't necessarily have to understand completely what this is doing. You can just copy exactly the line that I write and it will translate into your game. So first of all, I'm going to figure out the mouse position of my mouse and the Y position, of my mouse and the Y position of my player, and I'm going to subtract them from one another. So to find out the Y position of my mouse, I'm going to type in mouse Y brackets. I'm then going to use the subtract symbol and I'm going to call my player's Y position. So I'm going to type in my player's name, which is player for me, dot Y brackets. I'm then going to do the same but for X. I'm going to separate it with a comma. So I'm going to type in a comma. This is my second argument now. And I'm going to type in mouse X brackets, which is my mouse's X position. And I'm going to subtract my player's X position, just like that, player.x brackets. This line of code, you can pause the video here, you just need to copy it exactly as it is. Capital letters, full stops, commas, subtraction signs, they all need to be in exactly the same place. The final parameter that I'm going to choose here is going to be the speed of the bullet. It's up to you what you put here. For me, I'm going to make it have a speed of 800. I think my player's speed is 500, so it will be 300 speeds, 300 pixels per second faster than my player. And that is basically it. So I'm going to click OK now, and I can go into my game and I can preview it, and I can control my player move around, and when I click, my player starts to fire bullets. Now, if that's all you want your player to do, you can stop the video here. I'm going to show you one more thing that you can do, which is make it so that if you shoot an enemy, your player actually kills the enemy and it destroys the enemy rather than your player just shooting bullets. So to do that very quickly, I'm going to add a new object. I'm going to call this object enemy, and it could already be an enemy object that you've created. I'm going to create it with Pascal. I'm going to make it a solid color. For me, I'm just going to make it this teal color. I'm going to save that and add it to my game. So I'll add a couple of these into my game so we can kind of see where they are. There we go. I'm then going to go onto my sprite sheet here, and I'm going to add an event and then add a new condition. And this condition is going to check to see if the bullet is in collision with an enemy. And if the bullet is in collision with the enemy, I am going to delete my enemy, just like that. So if the bullet is in collision with an enemy, delete that enemy. Now if I preview my game, I can see that I've got a couple of enemies there, and if I shoot and the bullet hits them, it will destroy the enemy. I might make it as well, so that when I shoot an enemy, the bullet also disappears rather than just carrying on. To do that, it's really simple. I just go add action that relates to the bullet, and then I just type in delete. Okay, and now if I shoot an enemy, we should see that the enemy and the bullet are both destroyed.